Please note that all regular and virtual board meetings of the Lawndale Elementary School District are recorded. I would like all of us to remember that the board, cabinet, presenters, and speakers should slow down when speaking, project their voice, speak directly into the microphone, mute your microphone when you are not speaking, and please do not speak over one another. Are there comments from the audience on either agenda or non-agenda items?
Yes, President Coronado, we have one. Our Director of Student Support Services, Mr. Alberto Paredes, would like to address the board regarding social workers.
Good evening, board members, superintendent, cabinet, and Lawndale community members.
Mr. Paredes,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Our clerk has something she has to read first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not you. I did it. It was my
I will
fault.
stand.
You're fine. Board bylaw 9323 per board bylaws 9323, a person wishing to be heard by the board shall be first recognized by the president and shall then proceed to comment as briefly as the subject permits. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. The board shall take no action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda except as authorized by law.
Please continue.
Thank you. I am Alberto Paredes, Director of Student Support Services here in Lawndale. Tonight, you will be recognizing our amazing school social workers. I want to take a moment to recognize the invaluable role of school social workers in our schools. These dedicated professionals work tirelessly to support students' social, emotional, and academic success. They bridge the gap between school, home, and community, providing critical services that help students overcome barriers to learning, whether it's mental health support, crisis intervention, attendance challenges, or connecting families with essential resources. Their work is at the heart of student success. As we celebrate Social Worker Month, let's not only recognize their contributions, but continue to support and invest in their efforts. Claudia Godoy, Biano Resendes, Kiselin Michael, Vanessa Clark, Jessica Duarte, Cindy Rivera, Alondra Villafon-Gil, Alasia Monson, Wandy Chu, Martika Tucker, and last but not least, Maria Ruelas. Thank you for the impact you make every day. I also have a little gift for them that I'm showing the board. My daughter made some custom bracelets for them. She tried to match the Lawndale colors based on the picture I showed her, went with the spring thing, and it says social worker. So we will distribute them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I'd like to thank the public for coming tonight and for your comments, Mr. Paredes. Superintendent Castro, is there anything you'd like to say at this time?
No, we're going to be recognizing you after closed session, so if you don't mind staying just a little bit, and so we can show you our appreciation and recognize you with a certificate on behalf of the board.
Okay, at this time, the board will move into closed session at 5:08 for the purposes of one item only, Public Employee Performance Evaluation, Superintendent Governance Code 54957. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We'll come back into open session at 5:31. We adjourned closed session at 5:26. We met in closed session for the purposes of Public Employee Performance Evaluation Superintendent Governance Code 54957. Superintendent Castro.
Thank you, President Coronado. At this time, I would like to introduce a very special student. This is Mr. Timothy Dongo. He's a student at Smith, and he's also a representative from the Superintendent's Leadership Council. And he has been a very, very important member of that team. He always contributes. It's been such a pleasure to work with him. So when we needed a student speaker tonight, I immediately thought of Mr. Timothy and asked his principal if she could accompany him tonight. Would you like to say a few words about him, Ms. Moore? Thank you.
Brag about a great kid. Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Castro, and Cabinet members. I'm Crystal Moore, Principal of Smith Elementary, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to Timothy Dongo. Timothy, also known as Timmy, is a current fifth grade student at my school. And to help shed light on how special he is, I reached out to his past and current teachers, and this is what they said. Timmy is an amazing scholar, athlete, high achieving, an excellent friend, respectful, kind, considerate, and a role model for others. As a student who has been at Smith since kindergarten, it's been amazing for us to watch him grow, not only as a learner, but as an incredible human being. And when I say grow, you will see when he comes up here. Without further ado, please give a warm welcome to the phenomenal, amazing Timothy Dongo.
Good evening, everyone. I am Timothy Dongo. I am a fifth grade student at Smith Elementary School. I have attended Smith since kindergarten. I may have grown a little. I have an older brother, Julian, who is a seventh grader at Jane Addams Middle School. My favorite subjects are math and science. What I like most about my school are the kind people that support me and help me when I need it most. One of my favorite memories at Smith is winning the soccer championship in rap. Go Cheetahs. In the future, my goals are to attend a good college and play sports like soccer and basketball. I would like to thank my mom, my brother, and my friends for supporting me throughout the years. Thank you for your time. Everyone, please stand up. Eyes on the flag. Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, invisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We continue to hope and pray.
Thank you so much, Timothy, and thank you, Ms. Moore. And Timothy, who do you have here with you tonight?
I have my mother with me tonight and my principal.
Very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And social work.
Oh, you're so nice.
Social worker, his mother, his principal, and Timothy, would you come up, please?
Mhm.
Superintendent Castle, would you like to share what I would love. A funny story, the other day I was telling him Dominic, if you listen, I'm not Dominic, no, did not. But he was so gracious about it. I'm like, I'm so sorry, Timmy, I'm old. Okay. Timothy, on behalf of the school board, we'd like to present you with this book and a pencil and a bookmark and a chocolate signed by every member of the board. And it just talks about our flag and the history of our flag. So we'd like to do that. So, is there a certificate to go along with it?
It's over there.
Thank you. Grab pin. You got pin, big. That's my person. I think it's on video. It was quite different in this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Superintendent Castro, roll call.
President Bonnie J. Coronado,
Here.
Clerk Shirley Rudolph is absent. Trustee Kathy Burris.
Here.
Trustee Ann Phillips.
Here.
Trustee Adi Morales.
Here.
And three members of the cabinet are coming, and Dr. Pomelia is on her way from jury duty, so she's stuck in traffic. And we have 16 in-person guests, 0 on Zoom, and 4 on YouTube.
Just a moment, Mr. Lopez, I just got a text saying that people are not able to join the meeting. Do you know anything about that? Does everything look good on your end?
We have 4 on YouTube.
Okay, all right, thank you. Just wanted to verify that. Thank you. How many in person?
16 in-person guests.
Thank you. 4 on YouTube and 0 on Zoom.
Correct.
Correct, thank you. Before I ask for approval of the agenda, I'd like the board's consensus to amend the agenda and move item 8.03, resolution number 2024-2025 school social work week for a vote and recognition of our school social workers at this time. Do you have consensus?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you were nice too when I made a mistake. At this time, before we move to that item, I'd like consensus from the board to appoint Trustee Burris as clerk for the night. Thank you. It would have been 3-1 anyway. Thank you. Okay, all right, superintendent.
Approval of the agenda as amended.
Move.
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Morales and seconded by clerk Burris to approve the agenda as amended.
And then approval of superintendent's action item 8.03, resolution number 2024-2025 school social work week.
We need to vote on the agenda first.
I'm sorry, I'm
Thank you.
rushing.
We want to get to the happy fun stuff.
I know.
All in favor of the motion by trustee Morales, seconded by clerk Burris, please vote on your devices. Unless there was comments or questions, discussion from the board. Thank you, trustee Phillips, for keeping us on our toes. Motion carries 4-0. Superintendent.
Approval of superintendent action item 8.03, resolution number 2024-2025 school social work week.
Do we need a motion on that? I'll move.
Yes, we do.
Second.
Okay, and a motion by clerk Burris, seconded by trustee Morales to approve superintendent action item 8.03, again, resolution number 2024-25, recognizing our school social workers. Hand vote. All right, at this time, we have a hand vote. Looks like motion carries 4-0. All right. In honor of National School Social Work Week, I would like to invite all of our dedicated school social workers present today to join the board around the dais. As we celebrate Social Work Week, we take a moment to recognize and appreciate the invaluable contributions of school social workers who make a positive impact in the lives of students, families, and the entire school communities. We all remember what it was like here not to have social workers, and we're so grateful that you are here now. Their unwavering commitment in fostering mental health, providing support, and advocating for student well-being goes well beyond the classroom. And we all know that you work many, many hours beyond 3 o'clock. Social workers are often the unsung heroes who provide the support and resources that help students navigate personal, academic, and social changes. They create a safe space for students to express themselves, build resilience, and achieve success. We express our deep gratitude to all of you who are here tonight and all of those who are not here tonight to find their dedication and profound difference they make in shaping the future of our students. Your work, under the leadership of Mr. Paredes, help build stronger, more compassionate communities, one student at a time. Thank you. Would you please join us? Huh? They said they were coming.
Oh, okay.
Please come here so we can, as we call, how about we do this? As we call your name, you come up and stand behind the board so you can take a group photo.
Miss Wandy Chu
Board.
from Smith Elementary School. Dr. Maria Ruelas from the district office. Claudia Godoy from Rogers Middle, Jane Addams Middle School. Go Bengals. Diana Resendez from Anderson Elementary School. Kieslyn Michael, are you here? From FDR, she is not here.
Mr. Paredes, you want to give it to her?
Miss Vanessa Clark from FDR.
Oh, she's not here.
Martika Nar Tucker from Twain. Jessica Duarte from Green Elementary School.
Do you have?
Cindy Rivera. Maternity leave.
Not here?
Alasia Monson. From Rogers. Go Panthers. And Alondra Diafan from Rogers Middle School.
All right, photo time. Ms. Paredes, Superintendent Castro. Board. My job.
Short people in front. There's no way that we're gonna get that. Someone's gotta come around.
You gotta come up.
This boy.
Go dog.
I wanna be that 15.
Right? I don't know what they're doing. Shoulders back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna take the liberty of having a conversation with the superintendent later. I'm crossing the line. You guys don't have to stay. You can go. I'm sure you have homework.
And they've had a very long day.
So if you'd like to leave, you may, except for you, Mr. Paredes.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, ladies.
Ms. Delta? Okay, communication?
Our first presentation is for Measure L and Measure EE and a facilities update. And I would like to welcome Dr. Howard Ho and Miss Carla Bertrand, our Director of Facilities and Maintenance and Operations.
Good evening, President Coronado, honorable board members, Superintendent Castro, cabinet, and members of the community. My name is Howard Ho, Assistant Soup of Business here at Lawndale Elementary School District, and I am joined by our fabulous Director of Maintenance and Operations, Carla Bertrand. And we are here this evening to provide everyone with an update in regards to our construction projects funded by Measure L, Measure EE, and give some facilities updates as well. So first, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Bertrand, and she will provide us with some updates in relations to our facilities.
Good evening, esteemed board members and cabinet members. Thank you for the opportunity to share with you a little bit about the maintenance department. Our goal in the maintenance department is to support not only the maintenance department, but also custodial staff, is to support our students' well-being and learning by providing safe, clean learning environments. We continue working with work orders, the work order system. And this is just a summary of some of the work orders received from July 1st through February 14th of this year. I want to, before I forget, I want to mention our administrative assistant of the department, Leonela Gomez. I don't have a picture of her, but she is instrumental in keeping our department running. She submits all requisitions, helps me assign work orders, calls vendors for anything that has to do outside of anything that the guys can't do, then she helps us find people to do it, and just communicates constantly with school sites to make sure the schools are covered as far as custodial needs. Now for this presentation, I thought I'd connect the duties with the people that are out on the field. This group of people, these gentlemen, are our maintenance team, and that's Johnny Martinez on the left. In the middle, it's Edwin Martinez and Ishmael Lopez on the right. They do anything and everything. Johnny's picture, he's at Twain. We had to redo a couple of bathrooms at Twain, a couple of restrooms. And so he's there measuring to ensure we were ADA compliant. They had to remove the partitions, and it was a team effort because Mario stepped in to cap off plumbing, and then Alfonso, our painter, stepped in to paint. And so we made the restrooms accessible, ADA accessible. Edwin is pictured in the middle. He is, aside from doing all the other things listed up there, he's our district locksmith. And so he handles anything that has to do with keys or repairing locks and doors. And Ishmael works with everyone, especially Edwin and Johnny, in all the different repairs and things that need to be accomplished on a daily basis. Here are some of the projects. As you noticed, we had to cement some of the back wall back there. The wall had cracks, and we were getting leaks into the hallway that's right behind it. We also had to cement at the bottom because the leaks were seeping not only through the bottom, but through the wall. And so that was a work done by the maintenance team. In the middle picture, you see Ishmael and Edwin. After the wall was repaired, they painted it. I know we miss our plants. I love plants, and so the goal is to put some planters out there with succulents. I have some at home, so I have an idea of what we're gonna put there. Because they're easy to maintain and they'll look nice. And then on the right is work done by Johnny Martinez. He did the same thing at both locker rooms at Rogers. He provided the privacy curtains for both girls and boys. He installed the rail and got the curtain and just did it in a couple of days, saving us quite a bit of money. You can't quite see their faces, but that's Vu and Dan. Though they are our electricians. And again, these two individuals are very, very hardworking individuals, and they'll do anything from changing ballast to working on replacing any hand dryers that are burning out because they're old. We've replaced fire alarm panels at all sites. We changed the back parking lot lights at Rogers and the front lot lights at Anderson. And they've been working with our IT department to add cameras. And we've also added extra lights throughout the district in those areas that are dark. So for safety, especially our RAP teams that are there early in the morning and late in the evening. So they've been doing that. Our grounds team is composed of Daniel Morales, Jerry Trevino, Michael Robles, and Tony Alvarado, and they're responsible for all irrigation systems, landscaping, mowing, trimming, and furniture moves. The picture on the right shows the most recent work that they did over at Rogers. So once the contractor removed their temporary fencing, they stepped in and they worked on the grass, so it'll be perfect for our ribbon cutting. So they did a great job. I'm very proud of my team. Here's another example of the work they did. That's Mitchell Elementary. That's the planter in the front of the school. That's what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. We are working with the Nature Conservancy of the South Bay. The parents have insisted that they need a tree to provide shade, so that's currently in the works. Principal Dalia Coronel and I are scheduled to participate in a nature walk this Sunday. We're gonna go to the Nature Center over in Redondo Beach, the Wilderness Park. Wilderness Park. And so we're gonna look at plants because they are going to donate California native plants for that planter along Condon Avenue. So it's been a little slow, but I was really wanting donations. So we are getting them. I'm excited about that. And on the left, you see Mario Hughes. He's our plumbing / HVAC person. He handles anything and everything from leaky faucets, backed up pipes, and taking care of all our heating and AC problems. Alfonso Gonzalez is pictured in the middle picture, and he's our painter and also puts up all the signs that are needed. Right now, we are in the process of replacing all the parking signs throughout the district because they're faded. They're barely legible, and so we're systematically replacing all those signs. The next school to be done will be Anderson. So you'll see nice new signs up there. Other things accomplished this year has been the replacement of 489 HVAC filters and the addition of 298 CO2 monitors, and that was paid for by the CalShape grant. We've also replaced any broken and stained ceiling tiles district-wide. We added a few more bottle filling stations, and recently, last month, restriped the blacktop at Smith. I spoke with Ms. Moore earlier today when I visited her site, and she said students and teachers are very excited because they couldn't see the basketball lines. So that was an issue. Another work that was done was the repair of the workroom at Green Elementary. It was in bad shape. The floor was cracked, the walls were peeling, and so there's a before and after pictures, and that's another success story. They're very happy because they have a very comfortable, spacious, clean workroom. And this is, if you ever are, if you go to Green, this is a room next to the cafeteria, across from the kitchen. And that is it for me. Do you have any questions that I may answer?
Thank you. Trustee Burris?
Actually, trustee Phillips.
I'm sorry, because we've all moved one seat.
Mhm.
Thank you. Trustee Phillips?
Thank you. I just have a really quick question. On the parking signs for all the schools,
Yes.
will they be English and Spanish for all of our parents?
No. I'm replacing with standard parking signs. It's no parking.
Uh-huh.
I can certainly work on that
Thank you.
for future, yes.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Great job, Carla.
Thank you. I just want to give a shout out to my team in maintenance and to also all of our custodial staff, not only here at the district office, but at all the sites. Thank you very much.
Clerk Burris?
Actually, Carla, I do just want to say thank you so much for keeping our schools looking nice and updated, and our kids in a clean and safe environment and stuff. So thank you so much for keeping an eye on all that.
Before you leave, Carla, so when I'm out about in the community shopping, getting gas, whatever it is I'm doing, and I run into somebody that I know works for you, I do ask, so how do you like working for Carla? And without a doubt, and to every single one I've spoken with just recently at the ATM, they said, I love working for Carla. I love being a part of Lawndale. Carla makes a big difference. So your team loves you. I think you inspire them with your own work ethic, your fairness, your ability to work with people. And so I think with that inspiration, they are joyful to come to work and do the work that you ask them to do.
Thank
So
you very much.
It's appreciated. It's noticed and appreciated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll continue buying donuts every Friday.
All right, so next up, I'm going to provide some updates in relations to construction. So first, I will provide everyone with updates on projects that have been completed. First, I want to introduce give a shout out to our construction teams. Everyone that's on our construction team, it consists of myself, Mr. Todd Barker, Monique Benjamin, a Director of Budgeting and Accounting, Carla Bertrand, Director of Maintenance and Operations, Myra Mireles, Director of Purchasing, Kiera Toth, our Project Manager, and Stephen Ford, our Construction Manager. And so every Wednesday, we meet from 11:30 to about almost 1 o'clock to discuss all of the projects that are going on in the district. So first, I wanted to let everyone know that this is a completed project at Twain. Last year, we finished the Twain fencing project, but most recently, we finished an addition of a new playground structure at Twain that was completed in January. And the cost for this was almost $400,000, which was paid for by Measure L. Fencing project that was completed earlier this school year, 100% completed earlier this school year, the fencing project at Adams. This project came out to about $458,000, paid for by Measure L as well. Very proud to share that we have completed fencing projects at Jane Addams, Mark Twain, Anderson. Next up, we have Green and Carson. And after that, that's going to conclude our fencing project district-wide. In terms of ongoing projects, this one is near completion. They're in the punch list phase right now, the Rogers Admin Building. It's already occupied by their front office staff. In fact, we'll talk about a ribbon cutting event coming up. But this project came out to about $4.8 million, which was funded through Measure L and some ESSER funds as well. The Green Pace Building and Playground. So Green recently received a new playground. This was all part of the agreement that we have in place with Pace. They're in the process of finishing the installation of a modular building in the back. When they're done, they will move their entire operation from the front of the school to the back of the school. And then the plan is to remove their current operation, remove that building so that it can free up about 12 to 14 parking spaces for the staff there. As far as upcoming projects for the district, first, like I said, I wanted to talk about the green fencing project. That should be coming up maybe closer to the end of the school year. I'll definitely keep everyone updated as we get closer to the start of this project. Digital site marquees. And so we are in the process of putting digital marquees at our school sites district-wide. We're starting with Adams and Anderson because those two schools have wall-mounted marquees. And then after that, we will get around to the other school sites as well. Mitchell and FDR Playground, these projects are coming down the pipeline as well. Mitchell, both of these playground projects should be starting this summer. Both projects are funded through Measure L as well.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
So the playground at Mitchell, it wasn't that long ago that Honda donated a playground.
Oh, good question. So that's the playground in the back closer to Inglewood Avenue that you're speaking of, President Coronado. I'm actually referring to the playground closer to Condon Avenue in the front.
Where the preschool is?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Mhm.
And while we're at it, can you tell me where the playground for FDR will be?
So the playground for the FDR campus will be closer to the back of the campus, across from near the sound wall on Marine, right? Not too far from the NPR in that area there.
So kind of close to the pre-K class
Correct.
or TK class, I should
That's
say.
that's correct.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Makes me happy.
And Pace is also going to be starting some construction at Anderson as well. They are going to be moving their current operation to the back of the campus, closer to the Wellness Center. Currently, they are operating from the front of the school, closer to 154th Street. Once they are moved out of that building, where they're currently at, the plan is to turn it over to the district. And then we plan on having RAP move into that location. It'll be an excellent location for RAP. And last but not least, of course, wanted to share that the two-story building, this is coming down the pipeline as well. Just this week, we had close to, I think it was 17 contractors that attended a job walk at Rogers. Bids will be due for this project by March 26th. So we will be bringing a bid contract, contractors awarding of a contract to the board in April. And this project will be funded through our most recent bond issuance, Measure EE. Questions?
Trustee Phillips.
Thank you. Just to remind us and to help the audience understand, what is PACE?
Oh, PACE is the preschool, I'm sorry, it's the preschool program of through the county, the Head Start program through the county. And we have had a partnership with PACE for many years now. Yeah, and they rent a space on our campus at both Green and Anderson where they operate from.
Clerk Burris.
Again, I just want to say thank you, Howard, Dr. Ho, for your hard work in keeping our campuses looking so beautiful. And I think our students can be very proud of where they go to school. And that's important to take pride in that, as well as everything that our teachers are doing and stuff. So just want to say thank you and thanks for the update. And I can't wait for the ribbon cutting.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
So I have a strange question. I think everyone knows that I'm always very concerned about change orders. And I know that by law, we have to take a certain bid. That's the law. Is it possible in a contract to say that change orders must be negotiated or change orders can't exceed a certain amount? Because, you know, there are stories over the years, not just our district, other districts where a bid will come in very low and by law, we have to take it. And then before we know it, the cost of the contract or construction has surpassed even the highest bid. So what do we say to that?
So,
Not trying to put you on the spot.
no, it's a fair question because we have gone through a lot of construction over the last 18 months, and there's a lot of construction in the next 18 months. And so in terms of change orders, according to public contract code, and it's written in our contract with the contractors, there is a 10% contingency that allows contractors to submit change orders, total change orders up to 10% of the entire contract. That being said, every single change order that gets submitted to our construction team is vetted by our architects and Kier. And so there's a lot of negotiating that goes back and forth. We know with construction, there are a lot of unforeseen situations that come up with construction. Sometimes you come across a gas line that wasn't part of the plans that now needs to be relocated. Sometimes, the plan was to dig maybe 12 inches of soil. Now you're digging 36 inches of soil for whatever reasons. But yeah, according to public contract code, there's 10% of contingency that's written into the contract that allows the contractor to submit up to 10%. Your question or your comment in regards to contractors submitting a low bid and, trying to make up for it on the back end through change orders. Unfortunately, in the construction business, that happens. And so, but I can assure you that every single change order that gets submitted to the district is vetted by our contractors and our construction team. And sometimes we go through several months of negotiations with the contractor, even for small change orders, because we have to be good stewards of public funds.
Thank you. And I do appreciate all of the work that you and Mr. Toth do on behalf of the district, making sure that we are getting the best value for our dollars because we are trustees of public funds.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions from the board? Superintendent Castro, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I just want to acknowledge the facilities and custodial and grounds team. I think that we have an amazing crew. And when I spoke to them last, I compared myself to the buildings because I said, when you have old buildings, it's hard to keep it pretty. So they do a very nice job of maintaining our buildings, even the older ones. So I'm very grateful to Carla and her entire team under the leadership of Dr. Ho. And I just want to give kudos to Dr. Ho because he's tough on those construction guys. And he makes sure that they're doing a good job and they're not being or misusing our public funds. It's an unfortunate thing that we have no control over for government contracts with construction. And I have asked him to look into certain ways that we can prevent, future issues. But thank you so much to you and your team.
Thank you.
Thank you. Superintendent Castro?
At this time, I would like to introduce Makiko Sako, who will be presenting district bond program update and planning. So just to refresh the board's memory, Makiko, you can come up, sorry. A few meetings ago, Dr. Ho, we held a study session with the board regarding whether or not the district should go out for a bond. So as the next step, Makiko is here to introduce additional information. Dr. Ho, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I just wanted to introduce Makiko Sato from ISM Advisors. Communicate with Makiko quite a bit throughout the year to give us, just to get updates on our bond program. And tonight she will update the board and the community in regards to where we're at.
Thank you so much. Board President Coronado, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Castro, Cabinet, and Lawndale community. Thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm always happy to be here. It's been made a few different presentations, I want to say, over the last 8 years. So 9 years. So always happy to be here. The first half of the presentation, I wanted to provide a bond program update. The first slide is always a great one. District voters have been very supportive of the, by approving 3 different bond authorizations since 1998. The most right-hand column, support levels, very strong support levels, which is great. I know we saw a little bit of a dip in 2020, but as you remember, that was just the beginning of the pandemic. So that was a really tough election cycle. The district has issued most of all of these authorized bonds. It just has the 16.8 million in authorized but unissued bonds remaining under the 2020 Measure E authorization. I also wanted to share currently the district has a little shy of 50 million in bonds outstanding. Those are bonds that have been issued but not yet repaid. In terms of the repayment schedule, on slide 5, this shows the debt service schedule for all of the outstanding bonds as well as the projected debt service for the 2020 Series B bonds, which haven't been issued. So you can see what the entire program would look like once all those authorized bonds are issued. So this is not just the principal repayment, but also the interest repayment over time. And what I'll note here is that the orange.
May I ask a question?
Oh, sure.
Or would you prefer questions at the end?
Questions along the way probably is the best.
Okay, thank you. So just so I understand what I'm reading,
Sure.
so if I look over to the very far right of on slide 5,
Mhm.
all the way down to 2053,
Yes.
that's what the current bonds that we have now, that's when they'll be paid.
The green bars represent the projected actual and projected debt service associated with the 2020 Measure EE bonds. And so some of those bonds have not yet been issued, but that's what we're projecting that the final repayment of that Measure EE authorization would be in 2053.
Thank you. Any other questions at this time from the board? All right, thank you. Please continue.
No problem at all. What I do want to point out here is that the orange bars represent the debt service schedule for the bonds in connection with the 1998 authorization. What you'll notice there is that starting in 2028, the debt service steps down and rolls off completely by 2032. So moving forward in terms of planning, one of the key inputs into any bond model is the assessed value history. So this is the taxable value of the properties within Lawndale Elementary School District. I highlighted 2016 and 2025 to show the growth in your tax base over that time period. Also on the right-hand side, I wanted to share the current 2024-25 tax rates associated with each of those bond programs. So in considering a new bond authorization, the district in the past for Measure L and Measure EE looked at a completely separate tax rate target. So every single Prop 39 bond authorization allows an elementary school district to project out up to $30 per $100,000 in assessed value. So a question we often get is, if we go up to that maximum $30, how much could we raise with the new Prop 39 bond authorization? So I wanted to provide that analysis, and that is upwards of 42.6 million. Of course, if the district opted to go with a lower tax rate target, the amount of authorization would also be correspondingly smaller. But earlier, I noted an interesting circumstance where your past bonds, the 1998 authorization bonds in particular, start to roll off the tax roll in 2028 and completely as of 2032. And that is creating a unique opportunity where the district may be able to ask voters, if the voters are willing to continue to keep the tax rates at a similar level to where they are currently. So without increasing the tax rate again, but keeping it at the same level, the district may have an opportunity to access, maybe an additional 35 to 40 million for capital projects. This is what we call a tax rate extension program. For the authorization, you do need to go through all the same steps as you do for a new bond authorization. But from a modeling perspective, what we want to do is be mindful of the tax burden on the community. And right now, the circumstance is allowing us to manage that tax burden while generating additional proceeds for the
That would be,
district.
so I'm sorry, that would be in 3 years, if I remember 2028, you said?
So the debt service steps down in 2028, but the tax rates are always set about a year ahead of time. So this summer, the county will be setting tax rate for 25, 26.
Okay,
And so,
let's just say for me, and I'm just going through, let's say my tax rate is $1,000 for the bonds and all of that. If the community were to support another bond, they would just continue paying that $1,000, and it would, even though they could go down to, let's say, $750, but because they're already paying $1,000, it may not be quite the hardship that it might or could have been.
so
Am I saying that correctly?
I will always, when we talk about the tax rate extension, we're talking about the tax rate for $100,000 in assessed value. So your assessed value on the property does change year over year. Most of the time it goes up by 2% if you haven't moved or made any changes to your home. There are unique circumstances where your assessed value may go down, but your actual tax bill could change over time, but it is the rate that would stay consistent.
Thank you.
But in terms of the timing of the election, because the tax rates are set a year ahead of time, 2026 is really our magic window. I shouldn't say magic window. That's really our window for a potential tax rate extension type of authorization. If the district waits till 2028, by that period, then the tax rate would have dropped. So it would be a tax rate, increase from the lower level. So another element that we'd like to keep our eye on is the bonding capacity limit. So whenever the district issues additional bonds, they need to be able to certify, the district needs to be able to certify that the total amount of bonds outstanding does not exceed 1.25% of the taxable property of the district. So currently, the district's gross bonding capacity, 1.25% of the assessed value, is 63.1 million. The district has 49.2 million in bonds outstanding, which leaves about 13.8 million in net bonding capacity. The net bonding capacity is a snapshot in time, and it typically increases as your assessed valuation grows and as older bonds get repaid. This is an interesting requirement. I think it is viewed to be an inequitable law. It effectively ties your local wealth to how much bonding capacity you have, meaning that if you are a more affluent community, you tend to have a higher bonding capacity, especially on a per student basis. For that reason, there are more and more school districts that are getting a waiver of this requirement. It's an Ed Code requirement, so the State Board of Education can waive it. So far, over 100 bonding capacity waivers have been granted. All of the requested waivers, so 100% approvals have happened. None have been denied. Sometimes they're amended a little bit. And right now, what the feedback we're getting from the state is that there are, with all the successful 2024 authorizations, there are a lot of waivers that are being requested right now. So I think that number will increase significantly over this next, at the end of this year.
But what if we didn't, so if we asked for the waiver and we got the waiver, but we still decide not to go after the bond, would that be a problem?
So the waiver can only be granted with an existing authorization. So they don't pre-grant So the process would be that if the district does move forward with a bond authorization in 2026, and if it's successful, then we would start the bonding waiver process.
Thank you.
So what is important here at the very bottom? Well, first I wanted the board to be aware of this possibility of a waiver if it moves forward with a new bond authorization, but it is also important to note that the sizing of the new bond authorization does not need to be based on the current net bonding capacity. That is something that, you know, when you're sizing your bond authorization, it's really around that tax rate model that we discussed earlier. And the bonding capacity is really just a requirement that we need to fulfill or get waived.
Thank you.
So your voter demographics have stayed fairly consistent. Your total voters now are 24,187 with 11,698 households. The majority of voters in the district is still Democrats. That number does seem to have dipped a little bit, and most have gone to other. So I kind of did a cross-check from some of the past years. Interestingly, the district does have a younger voting population, especially compared to other parts of the state, with only about 43% of voters age 50 and older. In terms of turnout, there does seem to be quite a variability in terms of the turnout, with the presidential elections, as you'd expect, having the highest turnout, and some of those gubernatorial primaries not being very interesting to a lot of your voters, so very low turnout. This is very consistent, you know, statewide, that those primaries do tend to have, especially the gubernatorial ones, have low turnout. So instead, in terms of timeline, and there's a typo on the top there, and it says 2024 election. I apologize for that. All the dates on the right-hand side have been updated to 2026. So if the district would like to continue to explore this possibility, we would recommend another check-in with your community. In the past, for Measure L and for Measure EE, there was a voter survey done. And I think that's very helpful to assess how the community is feeling about their tax burden. The survey also asks about projects and tax rate sensitivity. We would also be able to add an element for this one to see, you know, how much the no tax rate increase or tax rate extension model sways the support levels as well. And so we can test that and incorporate that into a survey. Based on the survey results, of course, if they're not positive, we would recommend the district just to postpone it. But if they are positive and the board is interested in continuing the process, really the target would be for the June 2026 election date to have a resolution put together by March of 2026. And for November, the district has a little bit more time. The deadline would be to approve a resolution by August of 2026.
A lot to think about.
It is.
Are you taking questions now?
Sure, yes.
Questions from Mr. Morales? Questions from Ms. Phillips? Questions from Ms. Bruce?
No, thank you.
Well,
A lot to think about.
is it possible, without involving the board at this time, to come up with some of the things that you're thinking about addressing in this bond before we even send it out to the community, if we decide to do that? I think, and I apologize for speaking for the board, but I'd like to know what we're thinking about doing before I ask my neighbors to increase their tax debt. So I could speak to it or not to it, but, you know, are we talking major things, which I'm sure we are, but I would like to see it. I don't know how else the board feels. If that's something that they would like to see. The plans or potential plans for what we might do with money, whether it be the 60 2 million or the 44 million? I have to go back to my notes, but I think those are the numbers you threw out.
Oh, in terms of a tax rate extension, it's a little bit lower than that. It's 35 to 40 million.
That we would pass the bond, correct, okay. But something like that, you know, that's just how I feel right now.
Just for clarification, is the board asking for a facilities master plan, or are you asking for projects and needs that we currently have, or possibly both? Just so
Oh.
I can give staff direction.
Well, I know, I'm looking at the light.
Lights
Go
on, no
towards
one's
the light.
home.
Go towards the light. Please.
I'm trying to figure out what you're trying to say, but I think our community, if we're more specific, instead of saying, we're going to go after this bond because we need it, whatever, to say this will be used for our, and be specific about current projects as well as future ones.
What
So
she
the
said.
needs,
Is
the
that what-
actual needs of the district and future plans.
Yes,
Um,
and really specify this is not for salaries, this is for
Right,
infrastructure,
absolutely.
because we do not receive money from the state.
Because we have old buildings.
Older.
Older.
building.
I did want, if I may, Makiko, because Dr. Ho explained this to me the other night, about the, hold please, was it the tax? The bond is not the bond issuance, what you just explained about taking advantage
Of the waiver.
of the waiver, because trustee Coronado's concerned about the increase. But my understanding was that the tax rate would remain the same if we take advantage of that. So the burden on the homeowners would be less. Can you explain that a little bit deeper?
Sure. So the waiver is a separate issue. You know, what we're talking about is the tax rate model. And so because the 1998 authorization begins to fall off, that opens up capacity, even at the same tax rate, for additional bond issuances or authorizations without increasing that tax rate to your community.
Yes, yeah, I said my tax rate would stay $1,000,
Yeah.
whatever it is, okay.
And so that's really represented by that dark blue bars there, where it would layer on top of the existing tax rate. And it's, you know, there's additional capacity being opened up because the 1998 authorizations are falling off.
And thank you. And I think, you did flesh out what I was trying to say, because I'll be honest, I'm not saying I'm for it, and I'm not saying I'm against it. I need to have something concrete in my hands that I can look at and say, yes, I like this. No, I don't like this. And I don't want us ever to be in a position where we have to defend something that we don't believe in, because that's not how we operate. We always vote for something that we believe in and that we believe is good for our community. So, if you understand, Superintendent Castro, what we're looking for? Okay, and we can have that tomorrow? Tonight, oh. Ding,
Tonight by
ding, ding,
midnight.
ding, ding, ding. He gets a bigger office.
You can move into Rogers. Those are nice.
It is just I skipped over this part, but when you look at this schedule, the second line item there is prepare a project list, and that would go before the conducting the survey. So I know we're here in March and it's a little early, but the proposal is to, you know, get all those projects, you know, do the exploration and then to conduct a survey to get the feeler of how the voters feel about that. So I skipped over that line, so my apologies.
No, it was noted, believe me,
Okay.
it was noted.
Okay.
Summer, fall of 2025, just a few months away. But the sooner we can start looking around and walking around our facilities and talking about what we think we need and what we really, you know, there's a wish list of what we need and a wish list of what we want.
Mhm.
And sometimes they coincide and sometimes absolutely not. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Dr.
Thank
Ho,
you.
anything else? Superintendent Castro?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Correspondence, Superintendent Castro, there is none.
We have no correspondence.
And I believe it's now up time for your superintendent's report.
Yes, it is. So first, I just want to pause on this first slide and acknowledge these beautiful students of Lawndale Elementary School District. We have an FDR gallery walk to honor Black History Month and Mitchell's second annual Soaring Legacies Family Night. So can we just appreciate these beautiful children that belong to us
I see Michael Jackson.
and all the heroes? Yes.
Mhm.
So I wanted to share, I know that ESMOA has been coming up in the board meetings, so I just wanted to share that to further our collaboration with ESMOA, we are going to be hosting our leadership team meeting over there on March 12th. So we are going to give all of our leadership team an opportunity to explore the facilities. Of course, we're going to conduct business first, and then they're going to be hosting us and engaging our leadership team in a project. So I will be happy to share with the board what that is. I don't know yet, but we're planning that meeting on the 12th.
Cool.
Save the date. Please don't write these down. I will be sharing them with the board, or you can write them down. I'll share them again. March 24th at 4:30, we will have our ribbon cutting event for the Rogers new administrative building. And our architects have graciously offered to host some refreshments for the community. So more information to come, but if that date works for the board, then we will move forward with that. And I'll make sure to follow up with communication. So here is a long-awaited topic that has been brought up. May 19th from 5 to 7, we are having our Centinela Valley Union High School School District and Feeder Districts joint meeting and dinner. And the topic will be the impact of AI on school districts. So Dr. Nelman, Dr. Markarian, Mrs. Tavidian, and I met. As you know, this has been a work in progress. So we finally came up with a topic, and we will be sharing this with the board members of all of the feeder districts to CV. And Dr. Nelman has agreed to host it in the Black Box Auditorium at Lawndale at Lawndale High School. And his culinary team students will be providing a taco cart that day. So we'll be sending out invitations to board members, and I hope Lawndale board members will be there.
I can't go.
Oh, you can't?
I'm kidding. Of course I'll be there.
So I wanted to share the highlight of my day. And I was sharing this with Trustee Coronado. She asked me to President Coronado. And she asked me to include it on my superintendent's report for today. So last week I met with our Lawndale Council PTA, and they shared with me that our PTA over at FDR was going to be disbanded because they didn't have enough officers. So I told them that's not going to happen, not on my watch. So I called Principal Whitaker and I said, we are going to host a recruitment effort. I'm bringing pan dulce from the San Gabriel Valley, promote it, superintendent, principal, and LCPTA joint coffee. Tell your parents that we are recruiting them, we need them. So this morning we were there and she sent flyers out, we sent parent square messages out. And I just want to give a shout out to Ariana Felix, our president, Angie Diaz, and Mylette, who were all there recruiting parents and telling them, don't be scared, join PTA. So instead of disbanding in March, we are hosting elections in April because we had at least 6 parents step up to join as officers, and 73, I believe, parents from FDR have already signed in as members. So this is just a testament to what happens when you have communication and passion and a refusal to give up on something that's good for our community. So I also want to acknowledge the FDR PTA, Ms. Stephanie, Mr. Ganyamad, and Miss Elena, who's actually the rep supervisor there, because they've held the PTA there together. And today we had about 20 parents at that meeting who were all volunteering to come together and help us make a wonderful community for FDR. So I also want to say the pan dulce was a hit, so I owe the board pan dulce because I know that that's come. Well, where's our bread? But it was the highlight of my day because there were so many parents there, and we are nothing without our parents. So I think that, you know, communicating that and supporting our admin team there. So the PTA, LCPTA said, can we do this at Green next? So we're coming to William Green. So parents get ready because we're going to recruit you, because our kids need this community and they need our parents to unite. And I always share a story. My mom didn't speak English, but she was PTA president when I was a little girl. So that showed, and I was so proud of that. I was so proud to have my mom there, and that's my mom. You know, she would be running copies, and it's so important, even if you don't have time. I'm obviously a working mom. I spend more time with the kids here at Lawndale than I do with my own children. And I shared with them, you know, if it weren't for the PTA at my daughter's school, I don't know what's going on, right? So I depend on those parents in my own community to take care of my child. So let's come together and take care of our kids here. So just had to brag and share that moment. I'm going to ride this high for a long time.
As you should.
As I will. Thank you.
All right, and on behalf of the HR department, we had our first hiring fair on Tuesday, which big shout out to my department because it started with a discussion of what more can we do? And it turned out into this wonderful event that they spent a lot of time and effort of organizing it. And you can see pictures of the different departments that was there. I know Carla was there for the custodial interviews. And so we were able to bring on about 25 new employees that day at the hiring fair that completed the process from testing, interviews, TB testing, fingerprinting, application process, making copies, getting all the documents, and going through that. So we definitely had a debrief. We talked about what we can improve on in the future, what worked. We got feedback from the applicants, from the panel, and from my team. So we were really excited about that. But like I said, big shout out to my department. They really took the idea and ran with it. And got everybody else to assist with it, setting up the tents outside with maintenance and setting up the departments and getting food donations. So it was a really great event, and we look forward to offering it again.
Great.
And then this is just our current employment opportunities. We do have a lot of teacher pools open right now for expansion for next year, our different openings. We have assistant principal, we have a psychologist intern, we have our classified as well. So please go to our website, press on the career tab, and it will take you right to the EdJoin page to apply.
So on behalf of the business department, I just wanted to give everyone an update in regards to the construction that's going on at Green. This project is nearing completion. As mentioned earlier, we're at the punch list phase. Punch list phase is pretty much the final inspection. So anything that gets called out during the final inspection needs to be looked over by the contractors. And so that's where we're at right now. The paste operation should be moving in sometimes in the month of April. As mentioned earlier, we had a job walk on Wednesday, yesterday actually, at Rogers. Like I said, about 17 contractors showed up who expressed interest in this project. At the job walk, we had our construction team, architects were there, potential bidders, and bids are due March 26th at 11 o'clock. And fire extinguisher training. Since our last board meeting, I had several meetings with our risk and safety coordinator, Vanessa Chavez. She's been doing some research on this type of training. Turns out that ASCIP offers this training. And so at the moment, we are working on a rollout plan. Some of the considerations for the rollout plan consist of possibly adding this online training to our ASCIP e-learning portal. and also reviewing this training with our district safety committee and having them roll it out to their staff at the site as well. So it's moving forward.
Then from the Educational Services Department, I thought we would focus on a few things that are happening outside of the school day. On Saturdays, I do wanted to really acknowledge the first of our 4 Saturday attendance recovery program sessions at Anderson that occurred this past Saturday. Thanks to the collective efforts of our dedicated staff, including Mr. Alberto Paredes, who is here with us tonight, our Director of Student Support Services. We provided extended learning opportunities. We recovered lost instructional time, which is very important. And we supported 145 students in reducing chronic absenteeism just on this one day alone. We had 10 teachers leading instruction with over 10 support staff members ensuring the smooth operations and student engagement. So this initiative was a true team effort. We do appreciate everyone's commitment to making this program a success and for helping to keep our students on track, and look forward to another great successful Saturday Academy coming up this Saturday. And I believe we have 4 in total coming up. 3 more, the first of 4 this Saturday, and we got 3 more coming up. And then for the next one, we had another big day on Saturday here. We had 50 of our 2nd through 8th grade students, along with their families, who had the incredible opportunity to experience a day in the life of a UCLA student. So you can see that big picture of all those students are our own students there. It's designed to encourage students to envision their future in higher education while fostering meaningful conversations between children and their parents and guardians about college aspirations. So it was so important to not just have the students there, but their parents along as well. So I have great appreciation for the hosting, the partnership that RAP and Amaris Rivas, our administrator on special assignment, who helped coordinate it from RAP with 100 Black Men of Los Angeles and the African Men's Collective of UCLA to come together. And we look forward to future partnerships with other student organizations in UCLA to provide future opportunities for other students as well.
Thank you for clarifying what the African Collective was. We were trying to figure it out.
It is not a typo. It is an X there.
Thank you. Superintendent Castro?
That concludes our superintendent's report.
Thank you. Comments, questions from the board? Thank you. We'll move on. Approval of the minutes?
I'll move.
On a motion by Clerk Burris, seconded by Trustee Morales to approve the minutes. Comments? Yes, I'm sorry, February 20th, 2025. Comments, questions, discussion from the board?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Hearing none, may we all vote on our devices, please? Would you like a hand vote, Ms. Harudi?
Oh, there it is.
There it is, thank you. Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. Superintendent Castro?
There are no expulsions or readmissions at this time.
And we are down to item number 6, consent items, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All items appearing under the consent items, SELPA consent items, superintendent action items, and SELPA superintendent actions are adopted by one single motion unless a member of the board or the superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the agenda and voted on separately.
President Coronado, I'm bringing forth consent item 6.03 through and including 6.17 for approval.
I'll move.
On a motion by Trustee Phillips, seconded by Trustee Morales to approve and or ratify consent items 6.03, include, through and including 6.17. Comments, questions, discussion from the board?
No, ma'am.
Superintendent Castro, on 6.05, Director of IT and support staff to attend, oh, I'm sorry, I misread it. Never mind, thank you. Let me do a rewind. Okay, all in favor? We're gonna be voting on our devices. Are we good? No, I'm waiting. We need to add his name. Deems. Makabe. Technically speaking, the board is invited to any and all functions hosted and paid for by the district. So if we have to add your name, I don't.
We,
believe-
no, we can add it later. It's not a problem. I'll find out, later on today. We, I know we have, they extended invitation to the superintendent, cabinet, and board members, so I'm pretty sure it should be okay, but I don't think we need to add your name. And then we can ratify it if necessary later.
Okay. We good? Okay, please, let's vote on our devices. Motion carries 4-0. Superintendent Castro?
SELPA consent items. I'm bringing forward SELPA consent item 7.03 through and including 7.04 for approval.
I'll second.
On a motion by trustee Morales, seconded by clerk Burris, to approve and to ratify superintendent action items 7.03 and 7.04. Comments, questions, discussion from the board?
No, ma'am.
Therefore, we should vote on our devices. Motion carries 4-0. Superintendent Castro?
I'm bringing forward superintendent action items 8.03 through and including 8.10 for approval, with the exception of 8.03 that was previously voted on.
I'll
So-
move. Or, go ahead.
So you're asking for 8.04 through 8.10?
10, 8.10, 8.10, yes.
Okay.
I made a motion.
Okay. I need a second. Right. On a motion by clerk Burris, seconded by trustee Phillips to approve and to ratify superintendent action items 8.04 through 8.10. Comments, questions, discussion from the board?
No, ma'am.
Therefore, let's vote on our devices. Motion carries 4-0. Superintendent Castro?
I'm bringing forward SELPA superintendent action items 9.03 through and including 9.04 for approval.
Move.
I'll second.
I have a question. I know we said we're gonna do 9.03 and 4, but I don't see them listed
Is that a typo?
on the,
Don't either.
I don't either.
I'm sorry, that's a typo. There are no SELPA superintendent action items on this agenda.
Okay.
I thought I was losing it.
I was looking for the thing too. I'm like, where'd it go?
Okay, so there are no superintendent action items.
No SELPA superintendent.
superintendent.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I believe we are at board member comments. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, tonight we are going to begin with trustee Morales. Do you have comments?
I have no comments tonight.
Thank you. Trustee Burris?
Actually, I don't have any comments either, just glad to hear all the updates in the presentations tonight. Again, thank you guys for keeping our campuses beautiful. And Carla, I know you're very competent, and thank you for your diligent work with Lawndale. I appreciate you so much. So that's all. Thank you, guys.
Trustee Phillips?
I have some dates coming up, so I'll get together with Sylvia on these, but May 17th through the 18th, I will be going to Sacramento for the delegate assembly, the spring session. And then the next night, I guess I'm having dinner with you guys. Woo. And then I think it's in August, I have to look and see the date. I will be going to Sacramento again for CSBA for the candidate review committee. It'll just be one day, it's a Saturday, but I'll give you that date later on. I did attend the LACSTA meeting last week. I know I said that was for math adoption. It was more about multilingual programs and multilingual math and stuff. But they also had a lot to do with the immigration, what's going on right now. They gave us all the red cards that are being passed out now to people to say, here are my rights. You have to have a warrant and everything like that. It's English and Spanish. So it's to help all of our parents. And then there's a brochure on supporting immigrant students and families toolkit by LACO. Like the role of the school board in ensuring equitable materials adoption for multilingual learners and things like that. I'm going to pass this on to the superintendent who can distribute the material as appropriate.
Thank you.
The main thing is, though, we also received at our place several initiatives or bills that are going through at Sacramento right now. AB 421 is immigration enforcement protections, would prohibit California law enforcement agencies from collaborating with or providing any information in writing, verbally, or in any other manner to immigration authorities regarding proposed or currently underway immigration enforcement actions when the actions could be or are taking place within the radius of 1 mile of any childcare or daycare facility, religious institution, place of worship, hospital, or medical office. This measure aims to ensure crucial community spaces are safely accessible to all Californians regardless of immigration status. These legislators need to know how to cut down their sentence because that was a long sentence. SB 48 from our Senate is a similar one, immigration enforcement for school sites would prohibit California law enforcement agencies from collaborating with or providing any information about a pupil, pupil's family and household, school employee, or teacher in writing, verbally, on in any other manner to immigration authorities regarding proposed or currently underway immigration enforcement actions when the actions could be or are taking place within a radius of 1 mile of any school site. So those are on the table there. Also, there's about 9 of them, but I won't go through all of them. Some of them are related to college. We'll get that later. I mean, the kids will see that later. Dual language immersion grant. And this is by Assemblyman Member Gonzalez, would establish a one-time $5 million grant to be administered over 3 years by the California Department of Education, focused on increasing the amount of instructional materials in dual language immersion programs, including developing materials or purchasing items. So kind of hope that goes through to help our dual immersion program. And the last one is Assembly Bill 1390, school board member compensation, would increase the compensation caps for County Board of Education members and local school board members. I'll slow down on that one. This legislation is sponsored by the California School Board Association. So
Thank
those
you.
are the ones, and I believe that's all I have to present. The presentations tonight were wonderful, by the way. Oh, they're all gone now.
Carla still
If
has.
she's still- well, I can't see through that podium. They were wonderful to acknowledge our workers who keep our grounds clean and keep the rooms up to date and clean for our students. We kind of take that for granted sometimes, but it does take a team to do that for our children. And the bond, I'll go through this thing carefully with all those numbers and everything to see how it's going to affect our community.
If the board decides to ask for
If
it.
the board, I agree, but it was a nice presentation
Yes,
to
it
get
was.
started with.
Thank you.
Got to start somewhere.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, before I say anything, is there anybody else who wants to add anything?
May I add something to trustee Phillips' comment?
Of course.
I just want to share, we sent a team over to a LACO immigration workshop. And what they shared with me was that Lawndale is ahead of the game because we've checked off all of those boxes and we've already distributed red cards to our families. So I actually told Mr. Paredes, you could run the next workshop. But I just wanted to brag about our team and how effective and proactive we've been to protect our families.
Oh. I did brag a little bit in my little group about how we do adoptions, that we pilot them. And we have every school represented, every grade level represented, and we include parents and students on it to make sure that it's the proper material.
Appropriate choice, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
appropriate choice for all of our students. And we do look to see that our Spanish students are at equal level with the other students, that we don't water down their materials, assuming they can't learn as much, because we know the students are all on equal terms here and they can all learn. And my group said, how do you do that? And I go, get a hold of my staff.
Anyone else? Thank you. I was in a communication we received from the superintendent. I was reading, and I don't have the last names, but I know that Aquina, Jessica, and Irene were all celebrated for their outstanding work. Is it possible to recognize them here in our own district, in our own boardroom? Something to think about. In that same communication, you know, I saw the slides and our district librarian, Erin Blad Johnson. It's incredible what she plans to do with the kids, what she offers our students. Just incredible. The enthusiasm she has for literature and reading and exploring the world through books is phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. The energy, the follow through, it's incredible. And I hope someone shares with her my comments. I'd be interested in getting just a synopsis of what everyone's doing in that leadership series, what you're all learning about. It's good to see you guys, that you guys are continuing your own professional development. A lot of times, cabinet members in other districts don't attend things, don't learn, aren't challenged to look at something differently, aren't given an opportunity to grow. And as I attended school here in Lawndale, I was jealous of some of the things we're offering our students. I was jealous of, for my own classroom, of the alerts, I think, presenting math and se hace así. It's very emotional for me because I have 2 newcomer students. And I'm going to start saying that. Se hace así, se hace así. So perfect phrase for me to relate to them in a way that I hadn't been doing before. And lastly, just want to say that I want to give a shout out to Joe Condon, who just celebrated a phenomenal birthday. I won't share what number it is, Joe, but on behalf of myself and the entire board and everyone who knows you and loves you, happy birthday. And with that, if there's any other business to come before the board, we will adjourn at 7 o'clock.